Hello and welcome to Batcast 66. It's the podcast where we watch an episode of the 1966 Batman TV show and talk about it. My name's Kendall.
I'm Scott.
Today we're talking about The Cat and the Fiddle. It's the second part of the Catwoman return story.
hmm
Although maybe depending on your take on the Catwoman of this show, maybe she's already returned once. Who knows? When last we left the dynamic duo, they were strapped to these human-sized grills on top of a building and had giant magnifying glasses placed over them. Uh, they were going to be cooked.
Yeah, they were a little hot under the collar, as it were.
Yes. So yeah.
So how
And
Kendall, how did they get out of this one?
oh my God, I was so excited.
I was so excited too.
So there's an eclipse.
Which
Uh
which, normally in this episode, like this show, like, oh, of course, that's the Deus Ex Machina that always comes out of nowhere that gets them. But they set that up in like a little throwaway thing in the first episode.
yeah,
When they're talking about they're using the telescope, they're talking about the next day there was going to be an eclipse, a solar eclipse. And they showed a scene at night last episode, and this is the next day.
yeah. I loved the setup and payoff here.
So yeah, while they have the moments reprieve from the heat, they're able to kind of use their feet to like move their like magnifying glasses. Batman does the calculations in such a way that it burns off one of their like straps on their wrists.
Yeah, and they're able to like free themselves.
But I do like that if you're off by 1 degree, it'll turn your hand to ash.
Yeah, which is that's insane.
That was scary, man. I was on the edge of my seat.
Could you imagine if like Robin lost a hand in this episode?
That would have been crazy.
Yeah, Robin admits that he was a little bit scared, but Batman said he had no fear at all.
Which I think that's a lie.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little pompous.
Yeah. I mean, they have a little conversation there, like, because we always get out of these like crazy death traps. And I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, and he said he believes it's not because they're smarter than their enemies, but because their hearts are pure.
Yeah, which I was like, okay. It like the narrator said something like that. And it's like, for the narrator, I'm like, all right, whatever. But like for Batman to say that, I was like, all right, that's a little much.
Yeah, I kind of loved it though.
Yeah, I think I would prefer that they were like, because villains have so much ego that like they don't even think that there's a way you can get out of these things, so they don't think about the details, or they're never prepared for someone to like challenge their things, like because it would have gone to the whole be prepared thing. That's kind of a through line in the last episode and a little bit in this one,
True. Um,
but I think that's asking for more than they wanted to put into these shows. But yeah, Batman and Robin are free.
they're free. They go back to the Batcave, and in a line that I must have missed.
Yeah, she said it in the middle of their like her gloating when they were strapped to the grills. She mentioned something about going to Mount Gotham, and I was thinking about it because there's a Mount Gotham in the Christmas with the Joker, the animated series episode that we did for Christmas 2023. And we were like, "Man, that's like the lamest name you could have picked." But then Batman mentions like, because Robin's like, "I've never heard of that. I must brush up on my geography." And Batman's like, "There is no Mount Gotham." I'm like, "Ooh,
Mysterious.
yeah."
Uh, but also like, why would she say that then? I don't know.
Yeah, so Batman theorizes that like it must mean like a man-made mountain, so like a skyscraper, and like the tallest building is what, the Gotham State Building or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like whatever she's doing must be there, and then they have to go investigate that.
So yeah, they head over there, and they're driving over, and
Oh,
they
you
park
know I
right.
love this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
park
So,
on the street, and Batman stops Robin. He's like, "Wait a minute, a nickel for the parking meter."
and Robin's like, they're not going to ticket the Batmobile, and Batman has a whole conversation about like it's not about that. It's about the nickel pays for like our roads and all of these things. Like I was like, I love that. I love this version of Batman when he does this stuff so much.
Robin says holy taxation or something like
Which
that.
is why we knew about death and taxes existing in their day-to-day lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
A reference to the last episode.
Yeah.
So the duo go inside and they ask, I don't know this man's role.
So he's like the building manager, or like he's just like the guy in charge of like what happened to the building. They say it's 102 stories tall. So I'm assuming a lot of stuff's happening. I gotta imagine it's mostly like offices and stuff.
Yeah, I would guess so. But Batman asks if anything particularly special is happening there today. The building manager's just like, oh, there's the penthouse is rented out for a party by someone named Zubin Zucchini.
Yeah, and I was like, that's gotta be a made-up name, right?
Oh, did you look it up?
No, that's just this guy's real name. Like, well, like this character's real name, apparently.
Yeah. So I guess it's made up.
Yeah,
But
yeah, well, yeah, he's not a real person name. There's not a real person named that. But I was like, that's like PN Gwyn. Like, that's gotta be like an alias in the show.
no,
But no,
he's
it's not.
real.
There's some rich guy named Zubin Zucchini.
Yep. He's a sulfur tycoon.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how he made his money. I remember they said it, but yeah, he was a sulfur tycoon.
Yeah, and he
Which
started like a match company.
I with that name, I assumed he'd like made some sort of deal with like vegetables.
Well,
Or
you
was gonna be
should
like a
assume.
vegetable themed like villain.
Zucchini's house. All right, so Batman and Robin find this out. So we flash forward some unspecified amount of time. And we cut to Zubin Zucchini's mansion, and it's being staked out by a couple of Catwoman's goons. I think just the two remaining goons.
Yeah.
And they radio to Catwoman that he's left in an armored truck. So then we cut to Catwoman, and she's outside of a house with her theatrical makeup kit with like
Says
her name on it.
yeah, it's like theatrical makeup by Catwoman, and like her name's like as big as anything else. I know. So my first thought was like, is she trying to like sell like some sort of fake makeup thing or something? I'm like, there's I was like, what? Because she's like a door-to-door salesman sort of situation.
Yeah, so Catwoman like knocks on the door of a Miss
Minerva
Minerva
Matthews.
Matthews.
Yeah. These are they Minerva Matthews and Zubin Zucchini have very Stanley names, or it's
Yes.
alliterative.
And she answers the door, and Catwoman's like, "Are you Minerva Matthews, the famously wealthy
Yeah.
recluse or something like that?"
Yeah. Because they always keep referring to her as a recluse. But like, yeah, she just says it straight up to her, like, "Hey, are you this exposition?"
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like Catwoman gasses her, and like it doesn't show, but we cut away from that to Minerva's front door again, and
Hmm.
it's knocked on by the driver of an armored car.
Yeah, a second armored car.
And Minerva answers, but we the viewer can assume that it's Catwoman in disguise. Now, question:
Yes,
did Julie Newmar play Minerva in that first scene?
I think so because they look exactly the same.
Yeah, and like it doesn't show both of their faces.
Yeah,
That's
you only see it like over Catwoman's shoulder,
yeah.
which I gotta imagine all these people have stunt doubles and stuff too.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm sure that's probably what it was.
Yeah, I was just curious about that.
I don't know for a fact, but I would bet dollars to donuts that that was the case.
So we get a little more of Catwoman being a woman here.
Yeah, unless of a cat.
So she's dressed as Minerva, who's this old lady.
Like a
Uh,
cartoon old lady,
yeah, like Aunt May style.
like 1960s Aunt May style.
Yeah. And the driver of the armored car is this handsome man. His name is Ralph Stephalakakis, something like that.
He's got a very
Um,
strange name. And he makes a point of saying it out. Yes, it's Staphylococcus, Ralph Staphylococcus, but he's played by James Brolin.
oh, whoa.
Yeah, I think this was his first role, if I remember my research is correct.
That's crazy. Famous for many roles. My favorite being Special Agent Pee Wee Herman in Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, that's the best one. And if you don't know him, you know his son Josh Brolin from the Goonies, and he's also Thanos.
You're a Thanos.
Yeah. But no,
Um,
he's a very prolific actor.
yeah,
Oh, apparently he was in Lightyear. I didn't watch that movie.
yeah, I didn't watch the movie. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Catwoman's like crushing on this handsome guy who would grow up to become Special Agent Pee Wee Herman. And yeah, she finds out he's like married with kids, which like you see her like disappointment.
Yeah. So as soon as she becomes Minerva, they do a lot to like characterize Catwoman in a way that like they've never done with like any of the main villains. I mean, obviously she's still talking to her goons. She's like, "Oh, that's my grandson. He likes to play cops and robbers." And she, so she plays into like that she's the bad guy and is like talking about plan B or whatever. But did Batman already get to because Zub and Zucchini already got to the Gotham building by this point, I believe, right?
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna get or he'll get there sooner or later.
Because what was the reason they called her? Was it that Batman was like showed up because
Oh no, they called her because so yeah, someone must have like gone to the roof to like clean up the dead bodies because they're like, oh shit, like Batman and Robin didn't die.
yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Because yeah, she said something about like Plan B in this scene. Which you know what? That's kind of like a fun little scene to have gotten where it's like, oh yeah, we actually tried to clean out like our death trap
Yeah.
and they weren't there. Like, uh-oh.
But yeah, no, I like Catwoman like being characterized beyond her like
Just being a cat person.
yeah, being this like freak who just like wants money and cat related things.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's got the armored truck there because she's bringing what, $500,000
Yeah,
for
500,000.
whatever this meeting is, you know?
So yeah, Zubin Zucchini arrives at the building and he goes up to the top floor and Catwoman arrives shortly after with
Yes.
the $500,000 and she gets in the building. She
Well, no,
just
before she gets in the building, she takes the sack that says $500,000 and gives her driver some of it.
oh yeah. She gives him a
She gives him
$1,000 because
a
he's talking about
gratuity.
like he's
Yeah.
going to night school to become an accountant.
Yeah, because he needs money for his family.
Yeah, and that's when she finds out he's like married and she's like disappointed at that.
Yeah, but so I really liked that she did that because I think I prefer when Catwoman is more of an anti-hero, where it's like she's not a bad guy, you know?
Yeah, or she's not like evil.
Yeah, and like even though she's just got $500,000, like that's not what her score is. So like this is kind of just a means to an end for her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of her
Well, I
score.
mean, it's a nice bonus as we discover, but
Yeah.
she can spare what we find out was $1,000. I assumed it was $100 bill, but
Yeah.
which in 1966 money still a lot of money.
Oh yeah, for sure. But so yeah, she gets to the building, disables the elevator once she gets up to the top. And then she starts meowing for her goons to just like appear.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
She also gets to play with a really fun prop or piece of set design where like in a wall panel there's a giant switch to turn off the elevators.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Giant switches are always fun.
It's also like why would they make that?
I mean, you got to have an on and off switch somewhere.
Yeah, but why a giant like Frankenstein like kind of switch like at the top of the building?
Who knows, dude?
Yeah.
It is wild that it's at the top of the building.
I don't get me wrong. I thought it was I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny and if I was a kid I would not have thought twice about it.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I work in an old apartment building
Mm-hmm.
and There's a room full of switches like that in the basement.
Yeah, but I'll say what's usually like the basement, and it's like for a bunch of other things too,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah. Just saying those things are around.
yeah. I just thought it was silly and funny.
Batman and the cops arrive at the Gotham State building.
Yeah, it was Commissioner Gordon. Was Chief O'Hara there too?
Yeah, he was there too.
And there were just like regular cops as well.
Yeah. And they're all gonna wait down there to like catch the bad guys should they.
Well, I think they were going to go up to like the 102nd floor to like catch them, but that's when they find out that the elevators are out, and Batman's like, "We don't have time to go up the stairs," because like, "We'll get my men up the stairs." That's a lot of stairs to walk up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also it's here where like they kind of reveal like what's going on.
yeah, because
So
yeah, we saw Zub and Zucchini like with two. I didn't realize what they were, but it was like two weirdly shaped like briefcases.
yeah.
But it's two violins. Did they say specifically like what kind they were? Because I don't know
Um
if they're like a real type of violin. They didn't say like Stradivarius or something. Like I know what that is.
I don't know if they said the style, but basically it's the strings on the violin are made from like cat vocal cords.
Yeah, as they used to make violin strings from like cat parts.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that like the way they're constructed, like the only way they can like be out is that like they have to be at that like altitude for like pressure and humidity, like some
Yeah,
gobbledygook
because well,
about
they're
it. Yeah.
basically these ones are like antiques.
Yeah. And they haven't been like out of their containment in like 30 years or something, like I said.
Yeah, which like
And
that's
they're worth like,
obviously like bullshit, but
and I think they were worth like several $1 million.
well, so he was selling them to Minerva for $500,000.
But I think they mentioned that they're worth more than that.
Well, Commissioner Gordon says like, oh, between the merchandise and the cash, like Catwoman's looking to get away with like $1 million worth of things.
Okay, I took that as the violins were worth $1 million. So
No,
okay, that makes sense. And that is essentially she's paying the going rate for them, and then she then
yes,
gets them to sell them. Okay,
but
her deal was still $1 million.
yeah, because she wasn't going to pay the money. She was going to take the money too.
Well, I know eventually she's like, well, I'm not giving you the money. I'm just because I'm a super villain. Like,
Yeah. So her end game was like $1 million worth of things.
okay, and like half of it she could sell, and half of it would be stuff she couldn't fence because they'd be too hot and recognizable. Like that's the problem with like people that steal like famous pieces of art is like you can't really sell them to anybody.
Yeah, but I don't think like doesn't Catwoman just collect cat shit?
I guess.
Like
And
I
I guess
feel like that's
like
more.
$500,000 is still pretty good.
Yeah,
Oh, minus 1,000.
yeah, whatever. But yeah, so Chief O'Hara offers to have like the men go up the stairs, and Batman's like, we don't have time for that. And then he remembers the bat jets that they were working on.
I was so excited. Again, I love that they set up all of this stuff like in this story.
I appreciate that they set up the stuff. I guess I was kind of disappointed in the bat jets.
Well, because they're like I wasn't exactly sure what they were at first because they look like road flares. Like, well, those aren't like they can't be like jetpack jets, because they're like kind of like little tubes. But he gets them. Now remember they haven't tested these before.
That's
So
true.
he climbs on top of an elevator and puts them on the bottom and sets them off. So he could rocket up to the top floor. I'm like, man, I hope he's able to stop those.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like,
Yeah.
is he just gonna shoot out the roof? I do love Adam West's like G-force acting in this
Oh, it's
scene.
so good. It's so good.
Like it's very like when you watch like Star Trek The Next Generation without like the shaky cam.
Yeah, where the cameras don't shake, but they still move.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
because they get hit by a photon torpedo or
yeah.
something.
Oh, it's so good.
Um, so yeah, it's at this point where I'm like, I didn't catch this at first.
Yeah.
So we never see Zucchini's face this whole time.
I was gonna bring this up because I was really embarrassed that I didn't even realize that Batman wasn't with Robin
Well, yeah, so
until
I'm like, I was like, where the fuck is Robin? And it
yeah.
wasn't until this next scene that I was like, oh shit.
Because that's when I also realized that they've been hiding his face too.
Yeah. So yeah, we cut into the room and it's Zucchini and Minerva talking to each other. But in case you weren't able to tell from our little exchange,
Yeah.
it's not Zucchini at all.
Yeah, like she's playing the violin, inspecting the merchandise as it were. And she mentioned she's gonna take him and then take the money. And then she revealed because she reveals she's Catwoman. Oh no, because first he's like, "You're $1,000 short," and she's like, "Oh, what's 1,000?" She's like, "It's my, now it's my money. Like you weren't supposed to. You tip him with your money, not mine." And that's when she reveals she's fat Catwoman and she's just gonna steal all of this stuff anyway. And that's when Zucchini takes his disguise off and he was Robin the whole time, which I was like, "That's kind of awesome."
Yeah, that was very cool.
I really enjoyed that. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That like they'll get the old man civilian out of the way. They eventually revealed that the violins were decoys anyway. It's like that they were never really in danger. But like, yeah, they have an actual trap set for her. I mean, if things went bad and Batman couldn't get him, like, Robin might have to fight Catwoman and everyone by himself. So, it was a dangerous thing for Robin to do too, which is cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very cool. I love when they let Robin do some things separate of Batman.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. And again, because I don't know why I didn't see it coming either. And I was like, oh, like I figured it out right before it happened. I was like, oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, we haven't shown his face. And I was like, oh, wait, Robin wasn't with Batman. And it was just like I put two and two together and then he was Robin. I was like, oh, that's really fun. So good on the show. Like that was a fun twist I didn't see coming as in like an adult. So as a kid, it would have really blown my mind.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like as a kid, especially, like I would especially like these episodes, this story.
Oh yeah, this is a fun one.
This one's way up my alley. My alley cat.
Hey. So yeah, from hiding Catwoman's two goons and Jack O'Shea.
Yeah, the reporter from the first half.
Yeah, who I totally forgot about because he hasn't been in this episode at
Yeah.
all until now. They come out of hiding to like jump Robin.
Wait, we forgot before Batman gets up, like gets in the elevator to go up there. They're looking up at the side of the building, right?
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "What is that? Is it a bird? Is it a plane?" And I was like, "All right." I think that's really fun that they reference Superman in the show.
It is fun for sure.
Because yeah,
And,
Superman obviously already had like television shows and was like he was a character before Batman. But like, yeah, that was neat. I really like that because obviously he's not going to show up in the series, but it was really cool. I That's like the fun kind of like Easter egg thing where like I enjoy it, especially in a show like this where you don't really do that. Like at most, you might get like a mention that the Riddler exists in a non-Riddler episode.
yeah, it doesn't do much to like acknowledge because like I feel like even at this time the comics were barely like acknowledging the fact that it was like crossovers of course happened,
Well,
but
like they had World's Finest for years, going on. Like Batman and Superman being a thing together is very old.
yeah, I know those two meeting each other, but
Oh
like
yeah, it was a thing in the comics. That was like something that never happened in that didn't happen until the Zack Snyder movies, like in other well, they met each other in cartoons. I should say that, like eventually, like
yeah,
Superman.
but what I'm saying is even in the comics of this time, like even though those characters meet, it like doesn't really mean anything.
Oh yeah, and it's
Like
like
things that
Batman
happen
and
in
Detective
Superman's
Comics.
book
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
affect Batman.
Yeah, they're sort of separate things, but like they did have a comic that was exclusively Batman and Robin and Superman to themselves, so they didn't really need to do that. I'm sure there's some references to some other character, like to each other's characters, offhandedly at some point in those comics from the time. But like,
Oh
yeah, like you
yeah,
said, it wasn't like it's not like it is now. Where like, oh, Gotham got hit with an earthquake and is declared no man's land. They'll reference that in other DC comics.
yeah,
Or at the very least, like Superman will show up in an issue of Batman to like help deal with that or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah. So yeah, no, it's fun when you get these like references back then for sure.
Yeah.
Because
It's
like that
better. It's
means
better than
so much more back then.
yeah, and like it was better than like this is why Superman works alone in Batman and Robin, and like also by that time like Batman and Superman like movies and stuff got real bad. So
Oh yeah.
like
Um,
that's hardly the worst part of that movie, but like I remember even as a kid being kind of like on that when he said that. It
was it that was in Batman
was,
and
it
Robin?
was Batman around. I'm positive it was George Clooney that said it. Because it was
Yeah.
after like Robin was like, it's the car, chicks dig the car, or whatever. He's like, this is what I think it was the setup. Like that was just dumb. I think in a different movie I would have liked that like super I think in a different scenario I would have liked that line.
Oh yeah.
That
Silly.
scene was just
But
cringy.
even that, yeah, that's like
Yeah.
that's kind of fun too, because like
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, yeah, like what does that even mean? Is Superman like real in that like continuity, or is he a
Or is he
comic
just
book?
yeah, is he just referencing him from pop culture?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could believe Superman was real in that world because, like, especially that movie, like Poison Ivy has like a giant Audrey 2 thing and like all these like Mr. Freeze is happening. So like
Yeah, but then in that like
crazy sci-fi is like part of that world now.
God,
It's
I
like
was
because like
also thinking about watching this
Yeah, because like
like
in Batman and Batman Returns, like yeah, it's heightened, but like there's nothing like supernatural about like those characters.
except Catwoman has 9 lives
Well, yeah, she survives that fall.
and like a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like she like has 9 lives. Like that's like a textual part of the movie. It's so weird.
See, I didn't pick up on that.
What? They talk about it the whole movie.
But I don't know. I thought that was just making like cat jokes. I know she survives like whatever happened with there was like an explosion at the end,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I listen to our episode on Batman Returns where we get into that much more deeply. I do not like that version of Catwoman and I do not like that movie, but we have varying differing opinions on that, which is
Right.
fine.
Anyway, back
Yeah.
to this. Batman finally gets to the top as Jack O'Shea and the goons are about to throw Robin out the window.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of defenstration in this episode.
Yeah, they just like want to like throw people off of buildings.
I mean, one of my favorite things to in like movies and stuff is when people get thrown through windows and like just go smashing through glass. Like the scene in RoboCop where like he just throws a criminal back and forth through like 7 windows is one of the best scenes of any movie I've ever seen.
Oh God, I must have asked this question
Yeah.
from you. Have you seen Danger 5?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh God, you gotta watch it.
All right, I'll pull it up. What is it?
God, it's like about this like government superhero squad during World War II. Well, the first season's during World War II, and the second season's during the 80s. And they're like chasing Adolf Hitler.
I have it pulled up. It's an Australian show from 2012. Yeah, you've not brought this up to me. This looks way up my alley.
It's pretty perfect. And I mean, this show, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't an influence in some way. But yeah, basically every episode is this like stock footage shot of like Hitler running through, like jumping through a window to like get away from Danger Five.
Yeah, I gotta look this up. I gotta see where it's streaming.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, it says this on Netflix. So okay. Ooh, there's 5 brand new audio stories from the original cast in 2020 that via Audible.
Interesting. Maybe I'll check that out.
But yeah, I might start watching this when we're done recording.
You should. Anyway, where are we in the episode? Oh yeah.
Batman just
Batman
showed up.
stops
Yeah.
them from,
Yeah.
well, like, okay. They're about to throw Robin out the window.
Yeah, he's like
Then
half out, right?
Batman appears and he's like, "Don't throw Robin out the window, or I'm gonna beat you up."
No, I think he says something like let him go, and I always thought they were gonna be like, okay, and throw him out the window. Because they're doing that thing where they're like kind of doing him back and forth to build up momentum.
Yeah.
But instead they like throw him across the table at Batman.
Yeah, and so I'm like, if you would have just thrown him out the window,
He'd be dead.
and like, yeah, he'd be out of the picture. And
And I
then like the three of you could like team up against Batman.
yeah.
But
But
instead you're like giving yourself another opponent.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, we get a brawl here.
Well, right before the brawl happens, I didn't write down what Robin said, but he says something grammatically incorrect. And then Batman corrects him and mentions good like, just should still have good grammar, which
Oh,
again is something I'm very into.
yeah, it was something like you won't get away with it that easy. And then Batman's like, it's that easily.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that. Yeah. I
Um,
love that.
Meanwhile, Catwoman is trying to start a getaway rocket.
Yeah, when they revealed how they were gonna get out, because I think Robin was like, "How are you guys gonna escape? We're up so high up, and you stopped the elevators." But like, Batman and everyone's gonna be waiting downstairs. Like,
Yeah,
oh
and
yeah, just behind this curtain, they have a giant rocket that says "Getaway Rocket" with like 4 seats on it.
it's pretty good.
It's great.
So anyway, there's a fight,
They like
and
smash a statue over each other a couple times. They keep like almost throwing Batman and Robin like out the window. Because remember they have to keep doing like a different shot of them like over like a footage of like the street like down below.
yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah. Again, Catwoman's just kind of sitting on the rocket. She's trying to get it to start. Like it's got like a push start and like it's making like engine like can't turn over sounds. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, slowly but surely all the goons get like knocked out, and Catwoman like runs outside like on the ledge of the building to try to escape somehow.
Yeah.
Not really sure what her plan is. She's also like carrying both violins and the bag of cash.
Yeah.
And she goes quite a ways away from the window, and then like is like, oh shit, maybe this wasn't the best idea.
Yeah. Because Batman, he's like, I gotta save her because she's still a person.
Yeah.
And so he throws her the bat ropes, like tie it to your waist, drop the stuff. It's fake. They're fake violins, and the police will get the money or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
So she drops all the stuff and ties the rope around her waist and begins making her way back.
mhm.
But then she falls and is hanging.
Oh,
So
good thing. And Batman had already tied the other end to like the table.
yes.
So yeah, because that slides forward to the window, and like he's able to use it to stop her from falling farther.
Yeah. So Batman starts like pulling her up, and then Jack O'Shea gets up
Yeah,
and pushes Batman out the window.
yeah. Unfortunately, he's able to grab onto Catwoman,
Yeah.
and then I think Robin just knocks him out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Robin's trying to pull them up, but while Batman and Catwoman are there, she's like, "Well, you tried saving me. It's worth." They like start getting a little more flirtatious with each other,
Yeah.
and I was like, "All right." Again, I know that's like a big part of like Catwoman's like inherent design. And because she's the main villain, it doesn't really bother me. Because especially since she's not going to be like, love of Batman's made me reformed.
No, yeah. But like I do like this is definitely the most tasteful this has like been. Because
Yes.
yeah, she's not gonna reform. She just like, and like as we see in the next scene, it's like this like weird, freaky thing.
Yeah, it has an energy to it. They clearly have chemistry together, but like, basically they're like, well, if only you were a bad guy, if only you were a good guy, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, so obviously now they've captured everyone. They've got Catwoman.
Yeah. So we flash forward. It's, I assume, a couple weeks later. It's after the trial.
Yeah, she mentioned Batman testifying against her in court, which I guess he's got to do that with everybody. He makes, and again, because he's like a deputized part of like the law, even though he has a secret identity, he can have his testimony and stuff, and his
Yeah.
actions are like admissible in court.
I will say, like, that line delivery was funny. Like,
I
this
saw.
whole scene's funny because, like, Catwoman's like talking as if Batman is like her like estranged lover.
Mhm.
And she's just like, it was really nice how you testified against me in court. It was, the delivery is very good. Um,
Yeah, I think they've mentioned in other episodes like Batman testifying in court.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They have. That's not the point I'm trying to make.
yeah, I know it's not. I'm just pointing that out.
Um, but yeah, and then like Catwoman goes up to Batman and like you think she's gonna kiss him,
Yeah.
and she like leans in and just like
Well, first she
nuzzles.
Yeah, she nuzzles his face like a cat. Well, first she asks if she can get close because the cops and stuff are there. Batman's like, I'll allow it. But yeah, then she like edges him.
It was pretty funny
Yeah,
and just like so weird. And it like makes me so okay with this.
yeah. Because I have what they say, because this is kind of how it's like left. Commissioner Gordon turns to Batman, is like, "Oh, why Batman? Are you blushing?" Which Batman answers, "It's the heat of the day, Commissioner. Unseasonably warm, don't you think?" Like he's trying to play off that like he was into it.
Yeah. So good.
But I'm sure the next time they meet, she'll try to murder him again. So
Yeah, I'm curious of like what's gonna go down here.
yeah. So this brought in a lot more like I feel like we're modern elements of Catwoman.
Yes.
Um, which I kind of like, but I do like the first time around, like she's just a bad guy. And it wasn't really like this flirtatious element with Batman. Like just as a change of pace, I like that as something different. I do like her relationship with Batman in general. Uh,
Mhm.
again, she's designed to be like the femme fatale, and that's a part of that trope. Um, and I like that she genuinely gave that guy money.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's because she like had a crush on him, but like,
but still, like she didn't have to do that. She's a bad guy.
yeah, and
Um,
also like, yeah, like it's like, oh, he's like unavailable and he'll never know it was me, Catwoman, doing this.
I mean, I'm sure he read about it after the fact.
Maybe you did, maybe you didn't.
Yeah,
But like she didn't know she was gonna be caught, you know?
fair enough. I wonder if he had to give that money back if they found out about it, because she did tell Robin about tipping that guy money.
Uh, that would be really fucked up of Robin, but
I didn't think about that till just now. Like, yeah, oh man, they're such sticklers for the rules in this that like I want to say that like think that they would be cool. You know what? I bet Bruce Wayne would have put his own $1,000 to reimburse the real Minerva.
maybe.
That's what I'm choosing to believe. Because that guy did nothing wrong
Yeah.
as far as he knows. Like that was legitimate.
Except he did birth the person who destroyed half the universe.
Well, maybe Batman was in the half that died.
Maybe. Um, so yeah, we got some responsibilities as far as Catwoman's plot.
Yes. What did you think of her plan? I thought it
So
was pretty good.
I did like that she was like training an elite force of cat burglars, although I don't know why.
Yeah, it's weird that that was a thing and then they never really like elaborated on it or it became a thing. I like that a lot of stuff in the story was set up.
I love that a lot of things in the story were set up.
Yeah.
Although that doesn't that goes into the enjoyment of the episode, not
No, yeah. But like it's funny that that was like the thing that wasn't. It was
yes.
also in the narrator's like last episode. She was a school marm or whatever. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't really play out in the story at all. Like it's just kind of weird that that was a thing. Like if that wasn't there and they were just like her cat burglars, like it would made no difference.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean her plan was pretty good.
Yeah. Uh if she had a if she had paid attention to the astrological or astronomical goings on in our wider world, she might have realized that her death trap was bad and then probably done a different one.
Yeah.
And then she would have got away with it. Well, I don't know. Her rocket wouldn't get away, but they wouldn't know to have the police even be there. So if
And
her
then like
rocket
her
didn't go off, they
vague
could have just
clue about Mount Gotham.
yeah. That was also like weird enough that like they may not have figured it out. But again, they were also expecting them to be dead.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think it was a pretty good plan though.
I mean, I'm thinking a three, just based on like other threes we've given.
Yeah, I could go for a three.
Yeah, like I don't think she would have been stopped by normal. Like if Batman was in there, the regular police wouldn't have gotten her. She almost got Batman a couple of times. If her rocket went off, they would have been fine and just got away.
That's true.
You know,
Uh,
like even with like Batman stuff going wrong, like yeah, the violins would have been fake, but she still would have had the money. But I don't know. I really enjoyed these episodes. I don't know if they're my favorites. I'd have to sit down and really like think about them, but like they're in contention. It kind of had like a lot of stuff I would really want to see in uh Batman 66 episodes. It was really fun. There was a lot of set pieces. Like this episode felt pretty expensive, especially compared to the Archer episodes. There was lots of sets, like elaborate sets and props. Um, Catwoman was a lot of fun in it. Like it was the right level of campy, but like still the right level of like story and like characterization and things. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I mean, top of the heap for season 2 so far, but that's only one of 2 episodes we've seen.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh, for sure.
but next week we've got the minstrel, so we have that to look forward to.
I wonder what that could be about.
Yeah, it's funny. Like we use this thing called the Bat Book to like go back on it, and like there's 5 villains on the back. Caesar Romero's Joker makes sense. Then it's like Egghead, one of the Mr. Freezes, the Archer, and the Minstrel. It's like couldn't even do the Penguin. They're trying to sell this book. Like I if I was a casual person, I would like not know who like at least 2 of these characters are.
I mean, I don't know, but like for me, when I bought that book, I was just like that. Those are kind of the characters I want to know most about.
All right, fair.
Like, and that book came out after the show, so like I get using show specific characters.
Fair enough. I mean, it
Like
has
I'm
Batman
real
and Robin
excited
right
to
on.
get to Egghead.
Egghead's still a few episodes away. He's like five, 4 episodes. I'm counting them as like couplets, so it's like, really like 10.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. All right. So the
Yeah.
minstrel, let's see how it goes. I'm excited.
I mean, I'll give it a shot. Like, I've been surprised by characters that seem like they might be like lame, and then they're being really cool.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of like the that's what's kind of special about this show. Like it's definitely not written by like fans. It's still that early generation. Like, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like
I know what you mean.
TV
Yeah.
writers like working on this. And like while it's possible they like read a Batman comic or two when they were kids, like it's not like how like Batman the animated series, they're like, oh, we have to do like interpretations of these classic Batman
Yeah,
stories.
they're like Batman the Animated Series is pulling material from like classic bits of me, and like it pulls material from this show too.
Yeah. But like this show, it's just like, okay, we have our like source material in like the most basic sense.
Yeah, and like we did talk about them that some stuff is from the comics, but like it's probably also just like, yeah, I don't get the feeling like I feel the feeling that they wanted to make a good show, but I do get the
Yes.
it's not like it was made today, where like there's also not like the fan base is like it's just the regular fan base in general is different now.
Yeah.
Like we have different expectations.
Yeah. Stupid expectations.
Yeah,
Uh, well, maybe.
I'm
I
not gonna
won't.
throw it all as stupid, but like people do not like this tone for Batman in general. People don't care when they do Batman in like a lighter tone. I like both ways, and I think again that we've talked about it. I think that's a very big strength of the character is
For
that you're
sure.
malleable for like different kinds of audiences and genres.
But like even in like an adaptation sense, like audiences these days are like, oh well, like this isn't like a proper adaptation of like this specific story. Like, I don't know. This like show allows for like a little bit of creativity and like
Yeah,
acknowledgement that they're like making this for the screen and not for a comic book page.
yeah. Like I can't see Bookworm being created today,
Oh yeah,
and that was awesome.
that was great.
You
Great
know,
character. And like so
I
much of that is like allowing the fact that like this character is now played by an actor. So like let's let the actor do their thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely like made for the medium at the time,
Yeah. And that's
and
why we can get like three different Catwomans.
yeah,
Catwomen.
and like it doesn't bother me if they did that. I mean, recasting in general doesn't really bother me. Like I know people are freaking out because like the guy who played Kang the Conqueror got fired because he's a criminal creepoid, but like he's also like a multiverse thing. So like you could just have a different guy be Kang. You don't have to scrap what you're doing. Not that I particularly care about the MCU anymore, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, but also like, yeah, they've already recasted people. Like,
Yeah,
who
there's been two
cares?
Hulks, there's been two Roadies, like whatever.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't matter.
get why they didn't want to recast T'Challa, but you know, yeah, you can work that in. There's been other Black Panthers like in the comics. Like that's not a
Yeah,
and in the movie too, there was two Black Panthers.
yeah. So
It's like whatever. Not saying I'm not trying to downplay Chadwick Boseman's death. I'm just saying like people need to get over like recastings and stuff.
yeah. And also like, I don't who cares?
Also, how many cinematic Batman have we had? Like in the last 30 years?
Yeah. Well,
Like six I can think of.
didn't they all come back in that show or in that movie?
Oh, Flash, I don't know. I didn't watch that. That looked like butt cheeks from a mile away.
Was it Adam West in that movie?
I remember hearing that they wanted to get some of the Adam West stuff, but I think they couldn't get the likeness rights. Like families wouldn't sign off. I know they're trying to have Cesar Romero's Joker. I don't know if Adam West's Batman was in it, but Michael Keaton was there, and he's old and CGI, and like shot and lit horribly because that Batman suit was made for a very specific vision, and like it's kind of a bad Batman costume when you
So
see it.
I'm
Like,
just wondering if we have to watch that movie for this podcast.
I mean, we could talk about it sometime. I really don't want to. I would rather watch a lot of other Batman movies, just because that movie's called The Flash.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if Adam West Batman is in it,
Oh,
I think we have to watch it.
Bart. Well, if he's in it, he's going to be a CGI character. If he was in it, I think I would have seen by now because I've seen the reshared of like the other versions of Superman and stuff that are in it so often, just from osmosis. I think someone I know would have showed me Adam West Batman at this point.
All right. If any listeners have seen it, let us know, please.
But
I don't
even if
want to
he's
watch this movie, but whatever.
even if he's in it, the fact that they put George Reeves Superman in it is so gross.
Oh,
Because like
it's
you, because like he killed himself because he couldn't get away from being Superman, and then they have like his digital corpse parading around in this horrible like movie. Like it's so gross. It's like I think we talked about it not in this podcast, but like Peter Pan being the bad guy in the Chip and Dale movie and the way they did it, like really isn't it? Like I don't like it when you know like the real life stuff.
oh, I don't know. I didn't finish that movie.
Well, all right. So real quick, the character in the movie is the bad guy because he got older and then they stopped casting him in things, so he's like a washed up actor. The actor that played Peter Pan's like voice actor in the Disney movie was like in a lot of Disney productions, and then he got older, stopped being cute, so they stopped casting him in things, and he couldn't get work and like washed up, and he also eventually killed himself. So it's like when you're having that same story and now it's just the bad guy, it's like with the same character, it's like
Whoa, that's crazy.
you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that
well,
kind of stuff bugs me. But at least they didn't like use like a deep fake of his voice. You know, it was just Will Arnett playing him.
yeah, I mean, that stuff is happening though. AI can like recreate voices.
Yeah, I hated Grand Moff Tarkin and stuff in Rogue One. Like, uh, and that's the thing. Like, you can just recast, like, whatever, or don't have that character in the movie. You already had like a stand-in for him anyway. I hated Rogue One. That's all of the conversation. But
Well, I don't know. It's almost like maybe we need uh fresh entertainment
yeah,
and
we need new ideas. Like, as much as I love Batman and the constant reinterpretations of him and things, like, if we didn't get any new Batman movies for like 10 years at least, I don't think I would even notice.
yeah, I mean I don't care if there's never another Batman movie ever again.
Yeah, unless they do something weird. Like Lego Movie was really fun. Lego Batman, like specifically, like he was fun in the Lego Movie, and the Lego Batman movie was really fun. It was like something different that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, well, even that, I mean, that was nice for sure, but like, all right, like we're about to hit the 100th anniversary of Batman. Like,
Yeah,
there's plenty, like, I will never be able to consume. I mean, I guess I could if I wanted to, but that's the point. I don't want to consume all the Batman material that exists.
oh yeah, like there's so many like cartoons and stuff I've not watched, and I'm not really planning on watching.
And just like, I don't know, it's like, I think maybe it's time for, we are talking about something completely different.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
people
Well,
need to go to other sources besides like Warner Brothers and Disney to get new, fresh ideas for entertainment.
yeah. It's crazy that like the top. This is the first time in I forget how long. It was a long time, at least a decade, where the top three grossing movies weren't sequels or like franchise movies. Now, granted, they were two of them were pop culture, but it's like Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Super Mario Brothers. But like they aren't movie sequels, even though Barbie and Mario are already like pre-established brands. But like it's the first time in like decades that that's happened. And it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, you know, say what you will about those movies. I wasn't high on Super Mario Brothers, but like, you know, it was fine. It was something different. I haven't. The only other Mario Brothers movie we had was the live action one in the 90s, and I definitely understand why people wouldn't like that movie.
I don't. It's sick.
Oh, I love it. I think it's at least interesting to discuss, and like it's not boring to watch in my opinion, but I definitely I get why people don't like it. It's a bad adaptation of Mario Brothers, but like I think it's a Blade Runner for kids. Like you got to watch it like that, and not so much like it's not doing the Super Mario Brothers story justice.
There is no Super.
I know that's a different conversation too. I also don't really love the story that they told in the Illumination one, which was no story, but that's a different conversation too.
But
We'll
there
say
was
that for another
Mario
time.
Kart, Scott. Anyway,
Yeah, I
uh,
have an episode of my other podcast, Level Up and Friends, where we talk about Super Mario Brothers movie in depth exclusively. So go listen to that.
and we'll catch you back here. Same Batcast time, same Batcast channel.